Okay, this video is going to be on how I did the edging for the shelves that I put up for my wife. Now you can see here, we're going to take this ugly wood exposed edge and turn it into this. Now this shelf here, I already have the edging put on both sides and the front. Here's the one that I'll be working on. Now you can see I pre-cut the edging and now I'm plugging in the iron to preheat it. So I've cut the edging so it's about 3/4 of an inch longer on both sides, and I already have the sides done on here. Now I guess I should mention that before you do this, you should determine the glue side from the finished side. The glue side is rough and the finished side is smooth, so make sure you put the glued rough side to the wood itself. So I place the shelf upright, and then I lay the edging on top and try to line it up the best I can to the one edge, overlapping it just a tiny little bit. And then pressing on the corner with the iron to start allowing the glue to adhere to the wood. Now I try not to slide the iron across too much because I have pulled the edging out of place before while it is hot. As you can see, I'm not pushing down very hard when I slide over. And then as I get to the edge, I let go and let the iron do its work on the very end. And then I go over the whole thing once more, lifting it up all the way so that I don't pull the edging from one side to the other. Now if you see some fraying on the wood, that is because when I cut this, I had used a fairly aggressive saw. Now I did tape it, but I still had a bit of a blowout there. It's kind of disheartening, but while it's up, you can't see it. Now I rock it back and forth just a little bit to try and get the corners very secure. And then I flip the shelf over and apply pressure down. Now what this does is it allows the glue to really set in, and it cools it off faster because the counter is way colder than the shelf itself at this point. And then I rock it back and forth just a wee little bit to get the edges as adhered as I can. And now I leave the shelf to sit for a while till it's fully cool. Now you can see there's a very big lip there. Now we're gonna have to cut this off. So I use a razor blade and I come down on one side. Sorry that my hands are in the way here, but I try and keep it as flat to the shelf as I possibly can, and then pull the razor blade back towards the piece. Now this doesn't cut the whole edging down to size, but it gives me a good piece to work with. It took me quite a few tries to try and figure out the right amount of pressure and the angle. Now I cut the other side, and I line the razor blade up with the edge and push it straight down. This also doesn't give it 100% perfect cut either, but you'll see we clean that up after. And here I am cleaning up the one side and just a very little bit. Now you can see I have a little bit of frayedness going there. I lift that up with my fingers and run the razor blade past again, and now it is flush. Okay, so now I pick it up, and you can see here in the corner, it's a little blurry in the camera, but there's a little bit of overhang left, and then I just clean that up like so. Now the opposite end, same thing, and I just clean it up a little bit. Now I said I left a wee little bit of overhang on the other side, which this comes off pretty nicely when it's not as thick. You can see it rolling there. It does a very nice job. One pass, and you can usually get that trimmed right up. There it is. I dropped it out of frame, but there is the piece that I've cut off, all coiled up. So now when I'm done, just to make it a little bit better, I run the iron across the edges. Now this gets rid of a little bit of the burr if there is any left, and I think it also helps seal the glue to the corner. Once I've run a couple passes down the edge, I will go back to the very corner and I'll just give that a little roll on both ends. And there it is. That's the edging on there. Now I didn't have a temperature gauge on the iron, so I just put it on a fairly low setting, and it seems to work. If you put it up too high, it will burn the edging a bit, discolor it, and I have been able to remove that by scrubbing it with some soap and water. Now there is the shelving hanging up, looks pretty good. And now here's a picture of the shelving hanging up with some pictures that my wife put on it. And there, I think even the dog approves. So if you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe. This channel is going to be probably a very big mashup of different things on my day-to-day life and places I go. So thanks for watching and have a great day.